Welcome back to the Reier on YouTube channel, where it is a not so Sunday fun day for Alabama fans in the wake of yesterday's events in Tallahassee, Florida, as the Alabama Crimson Tide, for the first time in 25 years, 0-1 on the campaign. So it is Alabama looking to rebound after a disheartening 31-17 loss at the hands of the Florida State Seminoles. I'm Travis Reier. You are back with us right here on Reier on YouTube. If you're new to Reier on YouTube, we'd like to go ahead right out the gate and encourage you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way you're alerted to our content as it drops here on the channel. And if you don't mind, a thumbs up, a like would help us out a good bit as well. Gonna give some of our live viewers here on a Sunday afternoon a chance to sort of file in here. We appreciate it. Understanding, again, not necessarily the most positive of vibes on this Sunday. I think I'm going to figure out a way to play some golf after this or something, right? Are you already starting to make alternative plans for your football weekends if you're an Alabama fan? Too early for that. Too much football left to be played, and still a team that has the ability. I don't know at this point if you can really look at this team and think anything about a college football playoff maybe down the road. But it was a non-conference game. I guess if you're looking for silver linings on this Sunday, at least that was the case yesterday. But it definitely wasn't sort of that second year opener for Kalen DeBoer that you saw previously with Nick Saban in 2008. That wasn't Clemson 2008 yesterday in Atlanta. Unknown Damone checking in here on the live show. He says, looks like I picked the wrong week to give up sniffing glue. Oh, just wait, Damone. We haven't even got to the video yet. And we're going to do that. We're going to work through some of the action from Saturday at Doak Campbell Stadium. What the heck? Let's go ahead and pull it up, right? Go ahead and get right to it. As we get into some of this, I'm going to try to adjust this where you see even less of me. There you go. Less of me and more of the action. I don't know. Maybe after yesterday, it would actually be better to see more of this old goat than what we're about to work through. But here we go. We're going to get going with the opening kickoff. Alabama set to receive. There is Rico Scott. A lot of positivity surrounding the second-year player, second-year receiver. And there it is. Ball's in the air. It's going to go for a touchback. I still like these opening kickoffs to start the season, though, because you get an idea of some of the fresh faces that you might see out there. There you see Luke Metz, the linebacker, Caleb Edwards, one of the young tight ends. That was also, I think, Jay Lindsey back there. And we end up seeing, as we'll work through this, more and more of Caleb Edwards in 12 personnel to go along with Josh Cuevas. And then also some Jay Lindsey down on the goal line, young player. So here you go for Alabama, opening the 2025 season on offense. First play of the game was actually a pretty nice little zone run to Rich Young. And so on 2nd and 4, still in 11 personnel with the 3 wide receivers on the field and Cuevas at the tight end, under center. And you're going to work play action off of pretty much that first play. There you go, a little play action. Get Ty in his comfort zone, moving him with design to the corner there. And you got Jeremy Bernard wide open in the flat. I like to see this ball driven a little bit more, but probably understandable. That's a little bit of a nervy throw from a first-time starter. End of the day, it gets there, and you're able to hit it. And that play right there, that goes for 13 yards. And for the rest of the half, Alabama would have one play that exceeded 13 yards. We'll see it coming up here a little bit later. But it is a 1st and 10, so good start to this initial possession. Still in the 11 personnel. 2 wide receivers into the boundary with Cuevas off the ball. This time, Ty Simpson on a 3rd and 7 in the gun. Let's check out the protection here early. Get a little bit of a chip on that left defensive end, the transfer from Nebraska for Florida State. He's going to take a little bit of an inside move. You're trying to help Wilk and Formby, obviously, there. on this 3rd and 7. And as you watch it, I think Ty, little antsy, because you're still in good shape from a protection standpoint. You look at where he's at. If he kind of hangs in there, you'll see this mesh concept underneath with the back and Cuevas right here at about the 46-yard line. Actually opens up where you would have had Cuevas crossing and could have got it to him on the 3rd and 7. But Ty's going to trust himself and trust his wheels. Got a guy fall down. Young falls down right there. So you don't get a block there that might have been able to help Ty Simpson. But he reaches for the first down, comes up a little bit short. So again, go with some tempo early. 3 wides into the boundary. Nothing fancy here. This is straight zone basically. And Young basically able to get it by about the football there on a 4th and 1. So you're moving the change. You're converting some possession plays, more of a zone read look here. This is a situation where you're getting some good work from the left side. You look at Cam Dewberry in here, look at Caden Proctor, and it looks like Ty's reading this right here on the zone read. And it felt like he could have kept there. But again, you look at this mauling that's going on right here with Proctor and Dewberry. You're in good shape with this zone run on a 3rd and 5. Like the decisiveness and enough power from Rich Young to go get it. And you're converting some situations. You're wondering about explosive play capability for this offense. But as long as you're converting these 3rd and shorts and these 3rd and manageables and these 4th and manageables, you're going to be all right. And look who's in the game already. This is Kevin Riley. 3 backs, right? On this opening possession, I believe it was. Young, Daniel Hill, Kevin Riley, and this is another good job. You look at Dewberry at the left guard, Caden Proctor right here with a tight end. I think that's Caleb Edwards. That's a really nice job there. Walling that off. And there's Riley again into the secondary. And I believe that might have been Alabama's longest run of the game. First possession of the game. Longest run of the game was 13 yards for Alabama. Speaking of explosive plays, that was it right there. Good work, though. 3 wide receivers to the field here. And you got Ty out of the gun, a little bit of a play action. And now in a 3rd and 6, here comes the extra guy. Ty feeling it a little bit, going to move to his right. This is something he's going to get game planned up for, too. Definitely wants to work to his arm side and not afraid to do it pretty early. There is some pressure there, but he's going to work to his right. FSU's got you plastered up underneath, got Cuevas covered, Isaiah Horton covered. Ty dependent on those legs again. Going to make enough there to get the first down right on the number, just outside the 13-yard line for Florida State. So here comes some pre-snap motion. Thought we'd actually see maybe even more of this stuff from Ryan Grubb. It felt like it was pretty basic from the Alabama offense on Saturday, but Young's going to go to the flat early, trying to get a little bit of an indicator of, is this man or zone? Well, it's zone. Nobody's really going with Young, which makes you think if you could have just flipped it out here to him, you had off coverage, you had soft coverage on a 1st and 10, maybe some easy money. But again, see this? This isn't a time to start to ditch. That's not a pocket in the midst of failure. And this is Ty again. Squats a little bit, but he does recover. Does recover enough to get it down here to Ryan Williams. This is a good job of blocking out here at about the 4-yard line by Isaiah Horton. And then the acceleration from Ryan is always phenomenal, and he takes the big shot at the end of it. That's what you don't like to see as much. But, you're playing 1st and goal now from inside the 5. You got a 2nd and goal. Couple of tight ends in the game here. I think that's Lindsey on the ball, Cuevas off. Sort of a pistol look with Young behind. Going to run this sort of split zone read look. Got the eyes where you want them here. You blocked this thing pretty good at the start, too. I think maybe even if you give it there, you got a chance. But you definitely got a chance when you got this leverage on this outside defender. And this linebacker is going to be accounted for here, or safety, by Horton. So you got a two-way go. Ty can sort of trot that in, or he can flip it to Cuevas. He goes to Cuevas, and it's a 7-0 Alabama lead. So the team you kind of wondered about in terms of would it be able to handle adversity, you're going to see it again here on the replay. Would this team be able to handle adversity when it hit on the road? Now, it's more about, can this team initially anyway handle prosperity? Something you don't hear people talk about all that much. So you're in a great spot now. Pretty good on first and second down on this initial possession by Florida State. Brings up a 3rd and 5. This is kind of where you want Tommy Castellanos, the Florida State quarterback. And what you're going to get here is a 3-man pass rush, sort of playing the chains. I don't know what Jamarian Latham gives you as a flat pass defender, but he's out there in the flat. And I think initially Castellanos here actually wanted to go to the top of the screen. I'm going to back it up just a little bit. I think he wanted Deuce. See how they kind of quick snapped here? And Damani was looking at the sideline. Ball gets snapped. Now he's got Deuce Robinson up on him, the 6'6" wide receiver. And there's the grab at the top. Castellanos is looking out there. He wants to go there, comes off, goes deep the other way. Still almost makes the explosive play to Boggs, the true freshman, but that's a nice job by Deshaun Jones. Now, get a look at this secondary. This is the first group, because you're going to see damn near 3 deep, I think, before the end of this possession, it felt like. And that's a nice play by Jones, but it's for naught because you had the hold on Damani Jackson at the top. So adversity now. You get a defensive penalty, kind of gives Florida State that extra life here. Florida State, you wondered the same things about going into this game. So if you get the 3 and out, get off the field, maybe get good field position, go back down, get up 10-14-0, then it's Florida State that has to deal with those thoughts, even with all the new players and the new coaches. You know, just the energy in that stadium, you feel like, would have been impacted from that perspective. Here comes Gus now. He's going to try you on the perimeter. Didn't really do it as much in the first couple of 3 plays as I thought he would. Typically, Gus comes out first snap of the game is to the perimeter. But here it comes, that patented jet motion. And it's not just that he's got an offensive tackle and a receiver out here in front. And just look at the numbers again for Alabama on the perimeter, just in terms of alignment. You know, and you wonder why this defense feels like it's on its heels. This is into the boundary, and this is something you're going to see from Florida State on multiple occasions as we work through this. I mean, that's an easy edge. You've already got leverage on Latham here. And watch how Bray Hubbard has to catch right here. Or Roydell Williams just did a number on 18. Look at this. Your backers are kind of on top of each other. So you're in great shape with this sort of quarterback sweep with the extra blocker. That's easy money, man. You got a corner that's not making initial contact until 13 yards down the field. So now it's a 3rd and 11. Another opportunity here on Florida State's opening possession. And we start to see some of the substituting across the board for this Alabama defense. And down here at the bottom of the screen, this is Dejon Lee, fantastically talented, potential laced true freshman corner. And Alabama had called timeout, I believe, before this play. Called timeout. So this is out of a timeout. And you've got Deuce Robinson up here against Damani Jackson. And Florida State's going to just run the goes to the outside. This isn't Dejon Lee. This is actually Xavier Brown moved into the Husky to bring in Dejon Lee at this field corner, Damani Jackson up at the top. So during the timeout, maybe Gus Malzahn did or didn't realize, hey, they got their true freshman 6'4" corner on the field. We can get Squirrel White matched up in a formation one-on-one. Let's work it. And Florida State goes right to it here on 3rd and 11. Yanze Pierre working a game, gets a hand up. I thought Yanze Pierre defensively was one of the very few bright spots for this team yesterday. And already you see the separation between Squirrel White and Dijon Lee. Zay Mincy trying to get over the top. And if we see the replay, which I think we will, it's kind of crazy because Zay Mincy was playing like a Hail Mary depth at safety and still couldn't get over the top there. But executed well enough. And then, of course, off of that type of shot play, Gus going to go with some up tempo, catch you on your heels. You'll see 3 Alabama defenders here, I believe, go with the back on the zone read, the first part. Pierre, Deontay Lawson, Justin Jefferson. Watch all 3 of those guys. And you got a clean pull from the quarterback. Now you're 2-on-2 with your guy. Bray Hubbard again in that force roll. This could have been called a hold. You see the hand out here. I mean, usually, look at this. This ref's looking right at it. I mean, usually if the hand gets out here and there's a grab, you're going to get that call. Bray didn't get it there. And now your linebackers that were influenced, they're not going to get over the top. That's a true freshman for Florida State doing a number on your corner there at the goal line. So just like that, 7-7. And a lot of the positivity, a lot of that. This isn't last year. That was interesting to hear from Kalen DeBoer after the game. I don't know the context that he really meant it. I felt like he meant it like our guys have got to understand, this isn't last year, isn't this year. Well, it damn well doesn't need to be. You were a 4-loss team last year. I mean, if you're an Alabama fan, you're like, yeah, coach, I really hope it isn't last year. Almost missed him. Alabama almost caught a break, but White made the diving grab there to set up that Florida State touchdown. Again, here's the replay. You'll see it again. Kind of influence those linebackers with the back and the offset tight end here. Watch Pierre. See that jab step inside by 13? You kind of get in the back too. You kind of get that edge guy to sort of play that. And look, I'm not sure how Alabama wanted to play that. That may have been on Yanze to squeeze down on the back. A lot of times that's the case. Somebody has to account for the quarterback. And I'm sure you would like that to be Bray Hubbard, but he's accounted for. So Lawson, you would think, has got to get over the top of that. Alabama back with the football now, 2nd and 10 from its own 25. You got the back directly behind Ty here in 11 personnel. It's going to be play action again. Knowles bringing 5. Young could be better in pass protection there, but give Ty credit. It's a little bit later than you probably would have liked this, and you'll see it on the replay, I think. It's just about a hitch right here. Right now it's got to go. See how I want just a little bit extra to get it out, but the ball placement is excellent. I mean, you can't throw it better than that, no doubt about it. 3rd and 2 for Alabama now. On the move again, inside the Florida State 40. Ty on the half roll like this. This is his comfort zone right here. Get him on the half roll, off coverage, easy money, throw and catch. I love this from Jeremy Bernard, man. He is a legit dog on a team that right now doesn't appear to have many. And that it isn't enough to make the catch, get out of bounds, move the chains. He turns it upfield and finishes plays. This was cool to start with. And I get it. You're using Ryan Williams. Try to get Florida State going one way. But I'd almost be good with initially go ahead and give that to Ryan Williams, right? Let's go ahead and give him an easy touch and see what he can do with it and then decoy him out. But this had a chance. It's a tough ask, though, for Caden Proctor. And you see right here, gets a good job by this Florida State defender staying home. And you end up throwing back right into it, really. Proctor can't get there against the more athletic and smaller defender. So now you're playing 3rd and 13, but you're still in field goal range, right? This is into the second quarter. Talty has missed from 53, or no, I think this is what we're setting up. The one thing you can't do here, and this is an inexperienced quarterback too, and yeah, you're getting pressure. I get that. But understanding the situation, 3rd and 13, the one thing you can't give away right here is the potential for points at that spot on the field. Incompletion, you're kicking at 46, and you can do that. And look right here, you got Cuevas, you got Young. Now, I think Young, no, he's up. Or he fell down initially, but I don't think Ty ever looked there. But then you end up giving up the sack there on 3rd down. So instead of from the 29, here it is, you're trying this from 53. And Talty actually, I thought, hit this pretty good. When a ball spins that tight, though, has that good of rotation, that's probably not a great thing from 53. Now, in the NFL, the guys can kick it like that and it doesn't matter. But college kickers, typically, if a college kicker is going to get it there from 53, that thing is not going to have that kind of lift and or that type of tight rotation. But I like that it was between the sticks, you know? So Alabama back on defense. Here you go, 3rd and 5. Little mesh concept. It's zone, though, so you're kind of matched up for that, for the underneath with the 2 wide receivers crossing. Back coming out, going to run the rail. This is something Florida State hits later for the explosive play, pretty much. LT Overton trying to get some pressure. Middle of the field dart right there into that zone. Easy throw and catch. Castellanos decisive there. Alabama not able to really affect him throughout the day. Only threw the ball 14 times, but averaged over 10 yards per attempt for Florida State. Here comes the motion, right? With the back, the Corey Grant type. And look again. You still have pretty good leverage if you're Florida State if you give it there. But man, you got some cats for Alabama playing high in here, kind of out of their gaps, overrunning things at the linebacker position. You got your 2 linebackers inside on top of each other. Castellanos is able to go get the first down there on a 3rd and 4. Florida State once again now in a 2nd and 7. Here comes the reverse. This is Jordan Renaud right here as your sort of edge defender against this. He starts out at about the hash mark. He gets influenced by the back and the puller. This guy was pulling initially, this offensive tackle. But he'll reverse pivot and come back to go with this reverse. And this is the center who ends up actually coming down and picking up Renaud. Watch this. He's coming from the center and he's still able to get Renaud inside. And Renaud ends up on the ground. Now you really got the numbers. And unless Justin Jefferson right here splits this like holy hell, this is the corner again. Kind of sets it up. The ball carrier does a pretty good job of that. And then look at the blocking downfield on your corners. Just getting pushed 3, 4, 5, 6 yards. Red Morgan right here, I'm not sure. But he ended up providing a nice escort kind of into the end zone after that missed tackle. A lot of assuming by this Alabama defense again this year, right? A lot of guys, it seems like assuming that the other guy's there. And yeah, it's into the end zone for Florida State in a 14-7 lead. I think we'll see it again here on the replay. Let's see. Yeah, watch this. Watch this tackle. He'll pull like this is going to be sort of a counter to Roydell with this guard, but then he'll reverse pivot back. See this? See how he shuffle cuts back? And then the center comes all the way over and takes care of Renaud. And here comes there's Jefferson right there in between the two OLs. If he doesn't really fly to get his head outside right here, you're in deep Shinola. And then watch right here. I mean, Red Morgan, I'm not sure. Keon Sabb, it was a lot of 8A tackling. A lot of plays where it would have been dead right there. And there's Isaiah Horton. That's not good news for you. He's over on the exercise bike, not feeling it. As you're only halfway through the second quarter, and now you're down 14-7. Maturity, veteran leadership, intangibles, all those things that we heard going into this season were going to be a real strength for this team, where they don't show up here in this 24-0 run that the Noles hit Alabama with. So 3rd and 8 for Alabama. Little bit of pressure off of the left side. Otherwise, you're in pretty good shape. Right here, the ball's got to go somewhere. And that extra little pat gives that defender a chance to sort of impact this throw. And there it goes. Yeah, you're not going to be able to get it to your guy. So it's another stop, and Alabama's off the field. More pre-snap motion, kind of a scissors look with the speed back. Move tight end coming across, split zone. This is Usma Chroma. If you watch this channel, I talked about him at the running back position for Florida State a good bit last week, the true freshman. Keep off of it. You got off coverage out here. You got a 6'6" receiver. Bray Hubbard. This was a surprise to me. Maybe of all the things we saw, Bray Hubbard not making tackles. Too much ankle biting from the Alabama defense in general on this day. So here you go. I think this is Chroma here with the zone. This guy's a true freshman. He is going to be really good. You see him step through the hole, and guess what? Nakai Hill-Green, doesn't matter. Make some changes at linebacker. Still having guys run through your guys, and this is the ultimate insult right here. This is an older dude that the true freshman is taking for about a 4 or 5 yard bus ride, trying to get him on the ground. Impressive young back, Chroma. 2nd and 7 for Florida State. Roydell going to swing it to the right, 5-man protection, 4-man pass rush. You get upfield off your left edge, which creates an alley for a guy like Castellanos. Renaud getting up the field. Pierre trying to get off a block, grasping, diving at air, another dive at air. And Castellanos with a chunk run. Once he sees to his face that edge guy right here, look at this lane create right here. He sees he's looking left and he doesn't like the picture. He comes back right and can kind of feel that he's in good shape to go ahead and hit it. And at this point, he's not too worried about getting stoned, obviously, by these Alabama defenders. 3rd and 4 for the Alabama defense. 3-man pass rush this time. You got Pierre here in the middle of the field trying to spy it. You're not going to give it up to Cat. You're going to make, this was a key. You had to make Castellanos throw the football. And here he does. And here it goes incomplete. It's Deuce Robinson, I believe, probably should have had the catch there. So Florida State, you'll take that. You force a 3 here. But now you're down double digits again on the road, like we saw a couple times a year ago, right? Double-digit favorite, down double digits on the road. Kind of a 4 wides look. One of those is Josh Cuevas here in this 3 wides to the field. 3rd and 3. Here comes the 5 with a spy. So Florida State, at this point, saying, we're coming after your guy. We know you talk about him like he's a dual threat, but we're not worried about creating rush lanes for him. Because essentially what he's done, where he's only been effective to this point, is when he moves to his right. But this is good from Ty. Decisive, rips it in there to Ryan Williams, and you're able to go ahead and convert this on a 3rd and 3. And you look at Ryan's numbers yesterday, and they weren't great, but there are a couple of PIs that he drew that otherwise his numbers might have looked a good bit different with a couple of touchdowns potentially. So 3rd and 4, you're going to run quarterback power here. Dewberry comes over from the left guard position. 10 for Florida State. The defensive end does a very nice job. I don't know if that's textbook, but he at least tries to stone the puller. Probably you would want him keeping that outside shoulder a little bit more clean, but they were going to take away the inside part of this. And so Ty is kind of forced to bounce, and Formby's guy is now freed up and makes Ty Bow just a little bit there, which helps these guys. Florida State rallied to the football yesterday. Give them credit, man. They got guys to the ball. Alabama, not so much. That's a big hit. I mean, that's a big hit on Ty. It's a stop for the Florida State defense. And it's kind of tough luck, too, for Alabama. I will grant that because the weather really hit at about that point when the Crimson Tide needed a possession. Maybe go down and get some points, make it a touchdown game because you were giving Florida State the ball to open the 3rd quarter. Here comes the perimeter. Damani Jackson aggressive, getting up the field. Here is Deontay Lawson getting washed out, looks like, initially. Is that Roydell? Yeah. Bray comes up. He's got that outside shoulder clean. But Deontay's sort of stumbling, and he can't get there. And so that's a 3rd and 2 conversion, and Florida State's going to be able to take this thing to the half, although it got a little scary here. Almost a gift, man. You ended up getting a gift in the second half, but this was almost another one with the bad shotgun snap. And you end up getting a tackle for loss there from James Smith. 1 of 3 for Alabama. That was one of Alabama's 3 tackles for loss. One of the 3 came on a botch snap. But the Seminoles take it to the half, up 17-7. What do we got here? Move this forward a little bit. Oh. 2nd and 3 for Alabama, for Florida State from its own 22. 2 wides to the field. This is 11 personnel. Alabama bringing 5 right here. See Hubbard coming off this bottom edge, really bringing it from the perimeter here. I think that's Deontay coming off the top, Hubbard coming off the bottom, and you run right by the back. Good give if that was read by Castellanos to give it right there. And now you got Chroma. Nice offhand work right there against Keon Sabb, the veteran. He's going to hurdle one of your guys. You still haven't got him on the ground. 3rd and 13 now for the Seminoles. 3-man pass rush. Playing off, playing some softer coverage. You get it right here. I don't hate this by Florida State, though. With the way Alabama catches blocks, even on 3rd and 13, when Chroma caught this ball at 6'1", 218, and some of the blocks set up like that one, give Hubbard some credit right there. He didn't get blocked, and he got his head across, and you're able to get a stop short of the sticks. But when it first started, I was, well, he's going to go get 13 right here on a flip. Alabama 2nd and 10 from inside its own 30. 2-by-2 formation back directly behind Ty Simpson. Hard play action. We heard enough from Kalen DeBoer last week to think that when they wanted to throw it, Daniel Hill might be in there as much as anything to protect. Early heat here off Ty's left side with Caden Proctor. But this is a nice ball, man. He steps into this, drives it. This is what you should have been able to get, especially with as effective as Alabama ran the ball early. Play action and then hit it in that intermediate level, especially if Ryan Williams is running off coverage or impacting coverage like you think he is. So now 4th and 5, down 10. You got to stop to start the quarter, start the half. You got the ball. You got a chance to go down, make it a one-score game. Really flooding this top part of the field, but you're running mesh underneath, using Ryan Williams to occupy people, running mesh underneath it. Now, this may have been the first read in the progression for Ty Simpson, but if it is, I don't love it. I don't love across the field throw to a back on an out cut on 4th and 5. 4th and 2? Okay, but if I got to go get 5 and I'm going to run this across the field, I mean, we can talk about Ty and ball placement. It's got to be a lot better than that. And I think something else we can talk about with Ty right here is that if he made up his mind to go there, or it was the first read in the progression, he could have been a little more patient, because you'll see, watch Bernard right here. I mean, I think there wasn't pressure, you know, there wasn't pressure. So, it just felt forced at that point, and you come up a half ball short on the 4th down. I just think if you sit in there and you allow that to develop underneath with your guy, Jeremy Bernard, you're going to convert that pretty easily. But instead, it's another stop. Watch this. Watch Bernard right here on the left of the screen. There's really not pressure. There's no pressure yet. And you're going to clear this out. So if you sit in there, Bernard's going to come clean right in here. But maybe it was the first option. Maybe that was where he was supposed to go all along. And that's fine. But boy, you better put this really on him where he can catch and get up the field, because any type of adjustment, and it's a hell of a catch by Riley, man. That's a great catch. But that ain't going to get you 5. And you can say, well, he didn't run the route deep enough. The deeper he runs it, the more he brings that linebacker into play. That's almost a play where you're saying we're going to get it to him in a spot where after the catch, he's going to go get the first down. So Florida State, after the momentum shifting stop, says, you know what, we're going to take a shot. And it's a great play call, man. It is the right play call. And you can talk about Alabama busting this, I guess, but Damani Jackson's coming from the boundary. It's corner cat. See Damani on the blitz? Here he comes. And Alabama had showed some of this. You got a 2-back set. This is your speed guy. And he just runs the rail. This is Deuce Robinson, the wide receiver from the top of the field. And he's going to, you're trying to replace this corner who blitzed with this safety. And so the safety, I'm sure, Zay Mincy's thinking, I got to take Robinson, because here he is threatening the hash up the field. So when Mincy goes there, and it looks like, he was going to be beat too, probably. Now you got Deontay Lawson, just, it's not happening. And you kind of figured if that was the goal of this play, was to get that matchup on Deontay Lawson, there was going to be some of that. Because for all of the positivity coming out of the Alabama camp, you were going to have to show, Deontay Lawson was going to have to show that after having an ACL repaired late last November, that he could really do some Superman type stuff, not just really athletic stuff, but some Superman type stuff. So 1st and goal, what are they going to do? Perimeter, right? We've already seen this. Into the boundary. Bring the move tight end across. And they're actually, or I don't think they brought him across. This is actually unbalanced. You had center tight end on this side. You got all OLs over here. It's good play design. And look how outflanked you already are defensively. And you got toes on the goal line with your most outer defender. Just going to, quick toss it into the boundary. Now look at the numbers, man. You got people leveraged right here. From the snap, people are leveraged. Here comes your forced defender. But all the back's got to do is cut, make a little cut, not even much of a cut. You'll see it again from behind here. I'm going to speed this up too, by the way. I got to move quicker. I have got to move quicker. But you'll see it. There's the unbalanced. You've already got the leverage from the snap, Pull 57, who's an extra offensive lineman. 13's out in front, pinning it down. Jamarian Latham, kind of a tweener, trying to play outside linebacker, can't get there. Bray Hubbard late. There you go. Another rushing touchdown for the Seminoles. Now it's dire straits. Now it's right here, Formby giving it up early. But, man, gets a nice cut there at the last second. 2nd and 17. You've got time. Ty's able to step into it. I like that he kind of hit the back foot, and there it went. And, boy, I love this from Jeremy Bernard. After the catch, man, I'm going to go get all of it, and I'm not stepping out of bounds. That's good stuff from Ty Simpson. Give Formby credit. The early defeat he turned into a late W. 3rd and 11 for Alabama. You got Dre Washington in the game at the running back position. Protection here. Good. Simpson on time. Good. Bernard attacking the football. Just that little bit back to the ball. And he's able to convert another 3rd down. So now you're moving this thing. 4th and 8 for Alabama. Here it is again. At the 25. Florida State bringing some people. And you're able to get the slant and go PI against Ryan Williams. Like we talked about earlier, a couple of these that Alabama was able to benefit from that don't show up in the statistical column for Ryan. There it is. I mean, that's probably a touchdown. But give Florida State a lot of credit. Give 3 a lot of credit, man. You're beat. Go ahead and do what you got to do. 3rd and 15 now. And this is similar to what we talked about earlier when you ended up with the 53-yard field goal attempt. I know it's 24-7. I know you want to get it all back on one play. And here's Ty. Eyes come down. What about just hit Cuevas right here? Make sure you get the 3. And instead tries to do a little too much. Ball comes out. Give my man. This is a field goal saving play. This is a 3-point play by Parker Brailsford. Picking that up. And then I like this from Talty, man. Really confident. Great hold by Dowd, too. That snap was high and hot. Dowd gets it set down perfect, and Talty just drills it. So it's back to a 2-score game. Not ideal, but there's still plenty of time left in this football game. Mesh coming across here. Yeah. Justin Jefferson's in good shape initially. But Castellanos is able to not only kind of just easily beat him to the edge, but look at Castellanos. He's still got his eyes up. He's not really worried about it in terms of these linebackers catching him. And he shouldn't be, because look at this. And then right here at the end, in real time, I thought Castellanos tried to be greedy and get a little more of the green before he stepped out. And then he got hit by Jackson. But it was the personal foul anyway against Amani Jackson. Too many, some big defensive flags. Biggest one probably still to come. This is more perimeter.